just kind of moving on from Ron Rivera and specifically the Panthers. Is there any other NFL coaches you think are on the hot seat right now that should be fired?
Well, this year, honestly, I think there's a lot of coaches who deserve to be fired, like Adam Gase, obviously Freddie Kitchens. But the one I'm really going to focus on that I don't think gets as much attention as the other guys is Dan Quinn. So Dan Quinn is the head coach for the Atlanta Falcons. He's been there since 2015. So when he came on the scene, he had Kyle Shanahan, who's now the 49ers head coach, as his offensive coordinator. So Kyle Shanahan was there from 2015 and 2016. In 2016, they were number 1 in total points and number 2 in total yards offensively. That's the year they made the Super Bowl and blew that 28-3 lead that all Falcons fans must still think about to this day and Patriots fans love to hear about. Since then, they have not been inside the top 10 in offense in any of those categories with virtually the same skills position, same quarterback. Since Shanahan left, they have won less games every single year. And you see the residual impact he's had on the 49ers and their culture. The 49ers are one of the best teams. So I think you can kind of see directly that Dan Quinn's production and him doing really good was a direct result of Kyle Shanahan. Since taking over in 2015, the defensive ratings in terms of points, 3 times they have been 25 or worse. So that's just saying that Dan Quinn does not know how to coach defense. They have consistently been one of the worst teams in the league defensively. And, I mean, if you just look at their team, their talent, yeah, I know they've been injured a lot lately, but they're way too good to only have 3 wins in the year. I think Dan Quinn needs to get fired at the end of this season, and I think they need to start over with a new coach. And, honestly, if the Atlanta Falcons get a good coach, I could see them being really good next year. Like, as early as next year, I could see them being a contender. So I think that he is the main coach that I see that needs to get fired. I like to look at coaches who have talent and just don't produce. Those are the coaches I think need to be fired the quickest, and that is just the epitome of Dan Quinn to me.
Yeah, honestly, the Falcons really suck.
Yeah, no.
Julio Jones, Freeman, they lost Coleman, but they still have like the same like system. It's not like they changed really like drastically. I mean, their defense isn't the best, but
yeah, no, for sure.
Honestly, I think they should make the special teams coach the head coach.
You think so?
No, I'm joking, but they got like 3 onside kicks in a row. That was like one of the greatest feats I've ever seen in football. Like I was watching it, I was like, man, like, am I too many beers deep? Like, this is crazy.
They got 3 in a row. The first one didn't count, and then and then they got the next.
Shout out to the kicker too. I mean, they executed that perfectly, and I was like, man, like, where's this execution been all year? Like, if they just did this on offense, like, they'd win.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think he definitely, they need a new look over there. Not only just like head coach, but I think they need like new jerseys and everything. I think the Falcons are they're like an Atlanta team, and they're kind of like hip and stuff. But I just feel like the franchise is just kind of ugly. I don't know.
I feel like the players don't play that
nothing
hard.
Like flashy. I mean, I don't know.
Man. They should have more than 3 wins on the year.
Yeah, I think Atlanta should be a little more behind the Falcons, but they're really not. So kind of in a similar direction, I'm gonna have my head coach that needs to be fired as Anthony Lynn. So I know Chargers are a really fun team to watch. Like past 3 seasons, it's either a 1 possession game, or it's like they're losing by like 3 possessions in the 4th quarter. They just start turning up. They have a lot of offensive weapons. They got Williams, Allen at wide receiver. Then they have the 2-headed snake at running back with Eckler and Gordon. Mm-hmm. And then they have Phillip Rivers, who might not be the best right now, but he's historically like a great quarterback. What's really crazy is the Chargers have lost 7 games by 7 or less points.
Right.
So a 1 possession game, and that's 7 games. So I just think that these margins, like if this repeats every single week, like the players aren't prepared enough or the right calls aren't being called, like this shouldn't happen. I think as like an owner, this has to come to a stop. It's super embarrassing, especially with a team that good as the Chargers, that they keep on losing these games, and especially in like really weird ways. Mm-hmm. Last game was really messy, like really messy. I knew like they had 2 false starts in a row on like 4th down. It was like 4th and 1, false start, 4th and 6, false start,
Right.
4th and 11, and they somehow got it on their own like 20. So
Yeah.
I just think they've lucked out too many times. And if I was an owner and I lost that many close games, I'd be like, this is enough. Like, I'm tired of this. I cannot watch this anymore. I feel like these players need to be capitalizing on some of these opportunities.
No, I see where you're coming from because the Chargers were definitely a team that a lot of people thought were contenders this year. Last year, I mean, they beat the Ravens in the first round of the playoffs. You couldn't even imagine that happening this year. And they went on to lose to the Patriots, but everyone loses
they
to
were
the
one
Patriots
of the
in
best teams in the
Foxborough.
league last year.
Yeah.
And like not that many things changed.
And they have lost a lot of close games, which you can directly look at coaching. It's not like they don't have the talent to win these games. But so that's the coach you think out of all the coaches?
Not all the coaches. I just think it should be talked about more because I don't think the Chargers are in the right position, especially where they were last year.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I see that. That's kind of one of those, kind of like what I was talking about. You want to look at a coach who has the talent to win, but just isn't producing. My only thing with Lynn is that since he took over, they were 9-7 that year. They went from 5-11 before him to 9-7, and then last year they went 12-4. So you saw a gradual improvement with the team, and then this year they are now 4-8. So obviously this year they've done bad, but before the prior 2 years you could see improvement on the team. Do you think the Melvin Gordon controversy, him, sitting out, holding out for money, do you think that could affect anything within maybe the locker room or the coach's game plan?
I mean, he himself said he regretted it, and it was like, I'm never missing a training camp again. I think it was more of just like him not being prepared enough. So I wouldn't blame this on the coach by any means, but at the same time, like, you should have control over your franchise and your players. And for example, like Williams has gotten better. That guy's like a monster now. And like Allen hasn't declined and he's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like everything's there for them to be good. Like Gordon has now hit his stride. Like now you can't say he's not like, I wouldn't say warm enough, but like, he's like fully like into the season because it takes like about 4 or 5 games to really get involved. And now he's like hit his stride, but they're still not winning games.
Yeah.
Everyone thought when Gordon would come back, everything would look up, but in reality, like they're still the same team. And I think this is just like a trickle down effect from the head coach.
For sure. I think Phillip Rivers though has declined a lot this year.
He has, but I don't feel like he's the problem. Like he's led them to like he's veteran enough where it doesn't matter,
With Phillip Rivers, man, I feel like he puts up great numbers and he does really well until like you need him the most, and that's kind of been
he'll
his
make
story.
a really bad throw in the fourth quarter.
His whole career. Now he's just getting older and a little bit in the decline. But you could say the same thing with my argument. Like Matt Ryan has definitely not been the same player.
I mean,
both
quarterbacks, have
definitely
intensely declined,
and both
it's
are
sad to see.
Both are very unathletic in a league that is starting to require your quarterback to be a little athletic. If you're watching. If you were watching the Falcons Saints game, somebody would just look at Matt Ryan and he would just fall to the ground.
Looks like a wimp. If you look at like Josh Allen and Matt Ryan, like the Thanksgiving games, like me and my brother were watching it and like all my family, and if you look at Josh Allen, like he wants to get hit. Like, he's running and he was like, he's gonna player. He's gonna run into the guy for the first down, like straight up. And then you saw Matt Ryan had that fumble where he just like. He barely got touched on his elbow and just really gave the ball up. Like, it's just like, you're playing football, You're playing big grown men. Like, you should be stronger than that.
There was a play where it was at the end of the game where the Saints player, defensive lineman, literally fell to the ground, was on the ground, and Matt Ryan was like behind him. And he crawled to Matt Ryan and grabbed his leg. And Matt Ryan didn't have the reaction time to see a guy right in front of him crawling to grab his leg.
He didn't even step.
He could have literally moved to the right one step. He just and would have been
planted.
Fine.
Yeah, he just planted and he was like looking, and then the guy grabbed his feet. And instead of like trying to get out, he was just still standing there. I was like, "Yo, take a step out and then make the pass. Like step into the pocket." I don't know. It's just
these statue quarterbacks are not making it in this league anymore.
Yeah. Matt Ryan's too old. They need a new quarterback also, but.
No, those are some good picks though. Quinn and Lynn definitely both have teams with talent. It's not like they're the Jets who just don't have as much talent as other teams. They have talent, they just haven't produced this year, and that's as a head coach, you're just there for production.